Hello students, welcome to our latest update program. In today's session, we'll talk about a very important and a very sensitive issue, which is the issue of intersex rights in India. So very recently, the Supreme Court of India has actually referred a PIL to a 3-judge bench, which has made certain recommendations to the government. It has asked the government to take certain measures to eradicate the challenges that intersex people face in India. So this topic becomes very important for our examination. So let's begin by understanding who the intersex people are and what is the major challenge that they are facing. So if I talk about intersex persons, so intersex people are basically the people who are born with certain natural variations in their sexual characteristics. There are some natural variations in their sexual characteristics, like there can be some variations in their genitals or in their chromosomes or even in their reproductive organs. So what happens is that at the time of birth, it gets very difficult to clearly place them, neatly place them under a typical male or a typical female category because of the ambiguity, certain ambiguity, let's say in the genitals, or some ambiguity in the chromosomes, or some ambiguity in the overall reproductive organs. It gets difficult to clearly place them under a typical male or female category. Some of these differences are visible at the time of birth. Some of the differences are visible at the time of birth, but majorly, most of the differences, they get visible when the person reaches puberty. This is when the sexual hormones start developing. So when the person reaches puberty, the maximum differences can be noticed, but some differences are noticed at the time of birth. Let's say the genitals are ambiguous, or sometimes if the genitals are not ambiguous, the chromosomes might behave differently. So these people, they have certain natural variations at the time of birth. Because of that, it gets difficult to clearly place them under a typical male or female category. So this is a biological thing. It's a biological thing. Now what's happening in India, or the major challenge that we have right now, is that there is a difference. The people are finding it difficult to understand that there's a difference between intersex and transgender. There is a difference between intersex and transgender. So we know even the legal system of India is dealing with this situation, is dealing with the problem at the moment, that under the Nalsa judgment, what happened? We recognized transgenders for the first time, we recognized the third gender for the first time. But what is the problem with this? It's that it basically, combines all the different realities of people, under one umbrella, which is the umbrella of transgenders. Under the umbrella of transgenders. So this is the problem that our legal system is also facing at the moment, that there's no clear distinction between intersex people and transgender people. And why is this important? It is important because both these people, these communities of people, they face different challenges. So what is the difference first of all? Now there are two keywords over here. Intersex has sex and transgender has gender. There is actually a difference between sex and gender. But what happens many a times, we use these two terms, sex and gender, interchangeably. Correct? We use these terms interchangeably, but there is a difference between both these terms. Sex is something that is assigned at birth. It's a biological thing. It is the type of reproductive organs your body has, the genitals that your body has, that decides your sex. But gender is about identity. Who do you identify with? Do you identify as a male? Do you identify as a female? Do you identify as a trans? So this basically is your gender. Gender is identity. Sex is determined at the type of birth. It is biological. And that is the major difference between intersex people and transgender people also. Intersex people have natural variations at the time of birth in their sexual characteristics, versus transgender people are facing a problem of identity as per the social norms. The problem here is that, or the difference here is that, these people, they identify themselves as with a different sex rather than the sex that was assigned to them at the time of birth. They might be a male by biology, they might be a male by body at the time of birth, but they have started identifying as a female. They have more developed female hormones. So this is an identity thing. Transgender people have an identity thing. They're dealing with the problem, the social problem that we have, the social outcast on the basis of identity, versus intersex people have this thing at the time of birth. They have these variations at the time of birth. And because we have not identified these two sets of people differently, we are not able to deal with the challenges that these people face. These people mostly face social outcast based on identity crisis, and these people are facing something else. Intersex people are facing a problem of corrective surgeries. Corrective surgeries at the time of birth, which means that these surgeries are being performed on infants. So I just told you that these people, these babies, they do not have properly, clearly or typically developed male or female organs. It gets difficult to place them under a clear category. So what happens? The doctor might just go up to the parent and, you know, tell them that there is going to be a problem in future, because right now there's no well-defined things in your baby's body. So what do you want the sex of the baby to be? You decide and let us know. Do you want me to perform a corrective surgery and turn him into a boy, a typical boy, or do you want me to perform a corrective surgery and turn him into a typical, turn the baby into a typical girl? So this is what's happening. The major challenge that these babies are facing, or these people when they grow up, intersex people, what they are facing is that there is a non-consensual surgery that is being done on them. Doctors are deciding, parents are deciding. Many a times these situations are not life-threatening. All the vitals are functioning properly, but only because these people, the doctors or the parents, want the baby to fit into the typical social structure, the typical social setup that we have in the country, they decide on going ahead with a corrective surgery. And this number of corrective surgeries on infants, the number of sex arrangement surgeries on infants, it is increasing day by day in India. This is the major challenge, the biggest challenge that intersex people are facing at the moment. That is the problem of corrective surgeries. So that's the situation right now, because we do not have a central law. We don't have a central law that puts a nationwide ban on these corrective surgeries being performed on infants. These cases are rising. There are some executive orders that we have. There are some judgments that we have. For example, Tamil Nadu actually has become the first state to put a ban, to enforce a ban on these corrective surgeries being performed on infants. But what is the problem? The problem is that we don't have a central law. There is no nationwide ban. And what happens then? Let's say this person, this baby, you decided that you wanted let's say the parent over here decided that they wanted their baby to be a boy. Now, when this boy is going to hit puberty, when the hormones are going to change, when things are going to develop, and if this person has more female hormones being developed, because I told you that some changes are visible at the time of birth, major changes are going to happen when the person hits puberty. At the time of puberty, when the female hormones start dominating, what is going to happen? More mental agony for this person, more social outcast for this person, more challenges, like challenges in employment, also challenges in education also for this person. And for what? This person not even decided that he or she wanted to be a boy. They did not decide that. This was a non-informed consent which was granted on their behalf by the parents. So this is the challenge. This is the major problem that India is facing right now, because there is a lack of a central law, A and B, because there is no distinction. Right now we are placing all the intersex people under the transgender umbrella, because there is no distinction. We do not know what is the major challenge that these people are facing. And then there is an administrative issue also. If we talk about the census, the census is not counting intersex people explicitly. This is what the PIL in fact demands. There is male, there is female, and then there is transgender. Now the PIL says that there should be two different columns for sex and gender, because these are two different things. There should be two different columns, and then there should be a separate column for intersex people also. Because if you are not counted, you don't exist in the eyes of the government. If the government does not know how many intersex people exist in India, how is it going to make better targeted policies for them? How is it going to go back and track how many of them had to undergo this corrective surgery? How will that data flow when you do not know the exact count of these number of people, these people living in your country? So the PIL is actually demanding that in the census there should be another category explicitly for intersex people. And then there should be a nationwide ban on the performance of corrective surgeries. Until and unless there is a life-threatening situation, there should be no corrective surgery, mandatory corrective surgery that should be performed on the infant. So the PIL is demanding this. And then the PIL is also demanding to set up a commission that is going to be regulatory in nature. It is going to oversee the intersex rights in India. It is going to, validate, or it is going to enforce these rights and make sure that intersex people get appropriate rights, because this is a huge human right violation. You are doing something, you're performing a surgery, it's a non-consensual surgery, and going forward the child will have to face significant trauma, will have to face significant mental agony for something that he or she did not even provide their consent for. So that's what's happening in India at the moment. We have a legal challenge that there's no clear distinction for intersex people and transgender people. We do not know that there are different sets of problems. So we need to basically identify these different set of problems, and then there is no central law that is putting a ban on this thing. So this was all for this video. I hope you were able to understand the entire situation, analyze the entire situation of intersex people in India. We need to be aware, we need to be empathetic, and we need to have acceptance in our nature that there are different realities of people, different realities of different groups, and we need to have social acceptance for that. So that was all for this video. Now let us look at a practice question for prelims. With reference to intersex persons in India, consider the following statements. 1. Intersex persons are born with natural variations in sex characteristics that do not fit typical male or female categories. 2. Indian law explicitly recognizes intersex persons as a separate legal category with specific protections against non-consensual medical surgeries. 3. Intersex persons are included within the definition of transgender persons under the Transgender Persons Protection of Rights Act. Which of the statements given above is or are correct? A. 2 and 3 only, B. 1, 2 and 3 only, C. 1 and 3 only, or D. 3 only. Please attempt this question and provide your answers in the comment section. Thank you for watching.
Introducing Drishti IAS Everyday Wear, the casual jacket and the polo neck t-shirt, perfect for everyday and casual wear. Shop now on the Drishti Learning app and Flipkart. Buy link in the description.
For more informative content, like, share and subscribe, and do not forget to press the bell icon to get the notifications.